Hi everyone, it's Leigh with Arts Council OKC Creative Aging Program. And today we're going to do another drawing project. We're going to draw a lion head in 7 simple steps. And I'm using Jack Ham's book, How to Draw Animals. And this was originally published in 1969. It's just a great reference. So there's any number of ways to do it, but the 7 steps that I'm showing today are based on his book because they're great on talking about proportion. And so this is, a little more realistic than, I'm typically whimsical. So this is a good way to help you all break down the lion head and keeping it proportional so that your drawing looks a little more realistic. And it is simple. So we'll break it down here. And so anyway, what you're going to need: pencil, sketch paper, copy paper will do too also, and an eraser if you need it, a big eraser if you need it. So anyway, all right, let's get started. Okay, the first step is to draw a horizontal line and then 2 verticals crossing it, and then an X. Now the main thing is that you want the space in here to be a little bit longer than wide. And and everyone's can vary a little bit. That's, no problem. So just start by doing, and also taking consideration that this is the central part of the face. So you want to leave enough room up at the top so that you'll have your space for your ears and the mane. Okay, so you're going to start more in the central part of the paper. Okay, so here again, we're going to do a horizontal line, 2 verticals, and then an X connecting them. And you can kind of start seeing just the basic shape of the lion's face. All right, so this is step 1. Now we're going to move on to step 2. So I'm going to move this out. And I'm going to leave the first step out here, okay, so that you all can see it. All right, so now we're building on this one. So now what you're going to do is draw small circles here on just the outside of the vertical right underneath this horizontal. That's just for the eye placement. And then you're going to do a couple of like parentheses lines, and we're going to do this directly under the eye on the left and then on the right here. And then you're going to put in a line for the chin. Okay, so what we're doing is we're building on each stage of this. So we're just adding more components. And, so just we're getting in all of this basic information, and then you'll start to erase lines a little bit later. But this is all to keep it proportional. And so now then what we'll do is, so you have all of this, and now, so don't worry about making this perfect. This is just getting in basic shapes. Okay, so now I'm going to put the second step here. So here's step number 3. So now what you're going to do is you're going to draw a circle starting in this X right here, starting here and drawing it up. And you kind of want the bottom of your eyes to be in the center of your circle. That gives you kind of a reference point. So you're going to draw this circle and, turn your paper, whatever's easy, just to freehand this circle. It doesn't have to be perfect, and you can adjust your lines. And then you're going to add your, rounded ears. And now your ears can kind of come out as far as your chin, but I kind of based it off of here. You're going to start your curved ear here, and then your curved ear here. And now remember, we're not after perfection. We're just trying to get good proportion. And, I'm a person, so, some of the ears are, it's not going to be perfect, and that's fine. We're just trying to get in the basic information so that you can do a proportional lion head. So start by doing your circle in the middle of your X, bringing it around and making sure your eyes here are kind of basically in the center of the bottom of your eyes are in the center of your circle. See, and if it's a little off, no problem. And then we're just getting in your ear placement, okay? So that's step number 3. And so you can see how we're going from here to here. We're just, doing some just basic stuff. This is totally doable. All right, because sometimes breaking it down into really simplified shapes and steps can allow you to, feel like you can actually do this versus seeing a finished drawing and going, oh my gosh, how do I get there? So now you can see, hopefully, some of my lines kind of faded here. Well, anyway, so we're going from step 3 here, and now we're just adding. So basically, we're just kind of adding the mane on the top here, just a real simple, fluffy part, and then the mane's coming behind the ears, and you're curving it out and then downward, so it kind of hangs down here below the chin. And then you'll do the same over here. Just simple lines to kind of give you the basic gist of the mane, because it's puffed up here. His ears are still kind of in front, and then his mane comes down behind the ears, okay? This is the main point. So we're going from this, and then you're just adding a couple of elements, just the mane above, and then the rest of it that's coming around, okay? Great. Now, then we're going to start kind of streamlining some things in step 5. So we're going to put 4 here and then 5. And what you can see then is, we can start slowly erasing, but I wanted you to see the lines underneath. So we're going to now come in and basing it off of this line, the horizontal line, going to draw your eyelid line, and then just have it kind of curve slightly inside this vertical line. So slightly inside and kind of curving it back out. So it's on the outside to kind of give the nose edge. And you're going to do the same over here. And these are the furrows, the eye furrows. So this is a nice curve coming from this vertical line, and you'll kind of curve it. Here again, perfection is not necessary. You're just starting to soften your lines and getting the information in here. And then this is for the nose, the curve. And so you're placing it just right here above the middle of the X. And then you're going to get, curve this in. Okay? And so just keep, break this down so simply. You guys can totally do this. And then in here, what we're gonna do is do a nice curve. This is like the mane coming in over the face, okay? And then you can start erasing some of your lines so that by erasing the lines in here, you're indicating that the mane, the fur, the hair, the fur is going above, in front of the ears, okay? And then you can start erasing some things, but here's around the mouth. You're gonna do a nice curve in here, just underneath the X, this line in here, okay? So now you can see that the line is starting to look a little more put together. And so just slowly do this, but you can see how we went from step 4 to step 5, okay? And so in this step, in number 5, you can go in and start erasing certain lines that you're not going to need anymore. And see, and going from the circle here over to the cheeks. So we're just going to start softening, where you're going to kind of slowly bring in, where the mane is, and then just kind of giving more space and softening the lines around the mouth and in the chin. And so just take your time. And so, now we're going to go from step 5 to step 6. Okay, so now you're going to add in a little more information. But you see now that I've erased a lot of the underlines now that you can, because we're going to add, you know, the nostrils into the nose and start adding, you can start adding whiskers. And so going from here, from the edge of the mouth here, so you're just going to add a curve. Okay, so we're just going to curve this down, and then you can erase this central, you know, these X lines, and we're going to soften some things, but just and bring this down and change the angle a little bit. But look here, because right here it's kind of under the eye, so it's right in here. So you'll just start curving that. So that's where this came from. And then you're going to add, you know, your lower lid and add a pupil in here. So you can erase some of these lines now, you know, so you can bring your line in here. Okay. And then adding some fur, you know, part of the mane, and just following the curve. So you can kind of come in here and you're following these lines, but you're also starting to cover them up some too. And then we're just adding more in this line. And then in this, we're just adding some fur to the ears. And then right in here, we're adding some line, you know, where the mane comes up, okay? And then over here, we're adding the fur bits in the ear. And then just adding more fur for the mane. And then some, you know, bits of fur in the center here. And then, so you're adding in your nostrils and then kind of filling in just a little bit to darken the nose. And then coming down in here where the chin line is, and just, you can put in your lines first or come in and erase some of this, you know, just take some of that line out and then just start adding the lines in here. And you can have them connected, you know, you don't have to have just, you know, lines, so you can kind of do a little zigzaggy just to get the placement in. All right, and this is now we're just kind of coming in and changing the main placement lines and just kind of giving them some curve. Okay, and then we're just gonna come over here too. And then you can do some dots in here around his, on his muzzle. And then you can go ahead and put in some whiskers if you want. Or you can wait and do those later, but this is just kind of giving you the dots to where you know you're gonna put some. So now we're starting to streamline everything. So then you can pretty much finish erasing the setup lines, you know, the very straight lines that we put in as reference points, all right? And now then from this one, this is really kind of where you're gonna have some fun. From step 6 on to step 7, this is where you just keep building up your pencil lines. And this is where, you know, in previous stuff we've talked about directional lines. So, you know, as far as for the mane, these lines are all underneath here. You're just going to keep adding to them, okay? And then, so where you want it to be dark, you just kind of keep adding the lines, and then just use your directional lines. So I went from here to here, and so you just build up your, you know, your dark lines, and then add more in here for shadow. And some of these lines you're going to kind of erase and move, and that's fine. These are just all helping you get the right placement. And then his chin's going to look a little shorter because you're adding in shadow and shading in here. And then we're adding a little bit of stuff, you know, under here to show that this is fur, but then also it's in shadow of his, you know, upper lip. And then you just kind of keep going in and adding more detail. And so in filling in here, I also kind of just did it, instead of lots of little lines, you can break it down into kind of shapes. And then to kind of show that there's more shadow under here to make it a little more dynamic, okay? And then all of this is just keep, they kind of have, looks like a little beard under here. And then just keep using directional lines. And like I said, sometimes it's helpful to kind of break it down into big swaths of a shape. Whoop. And so you'll keep adding, so you get some darker elements. But then in here, we're bringing the main lines in, because then it starts getting long out here. And then we can add a little more detail to the main fur up top here. So this is all the slow buildup of, this is the, all of your finessing, where it's the rest of your details. And like I said, this is a pencil, basically this is a sketch getting you to this drawing part, and you'll take your time and continue building this up. And it's it's a process, but just keep going. And if this is the first time that you've really broken down a lion face, this will take a little bit of time, but just give yourself credit and just kind of take it slow. But I really love drawing, because there's lots of subtlety in drawing. Now, I do a lot of lines, of course, but that's just me. And then so you're going from here and building up the bridge and the forehead. And all of this is just, you're building from your previous drawing, from step 1 up to step 6, all the way to step 7. You're just building on all the lines that you've put in underneath. Okay, and so you're just gonna keep, if you want stuff to be really dark, and now remember, start out light and then you can get darker. But just keep building it up. And the main thing is just kind of have fun, because the more lines that come in, your image will come together even more. And then you don't have to have these hard lines, anymore. You can kind of go in and erase certain areas previously done, and then kind of come back. And this is all, a lot of these really, defined lines are just placement to help you kind of get in, and then you'll come in with your pencil and soften things, or, bring them out more. But just by continuing to add more lines, you're bringing your image to life. So, and like in here, you connect your eyes more. And then you just keep adding to the mane. So, but you get the idea. So just really kind of have fun with this. This, I really like how he breaks it down really nicely and succinctly in an easy way to draw a lion head, because a lot of people think it's really daunting, but by breaking it down into these simple steps, it makes it very doable, because you can totally do this. I mean, starting from step 1, totally doable. Step 2, here again, totally doable. Break it down. Step 3, totally doable. Step 4, getting that mane in there. Totally doable. Step 5, see, it's starting to come together. Step 6, and then step 7. A lion head in 7 simple steps. It just takes time. Okay? You guys can totally do this, and then just really have fun by adding in, your fur and mane. And this is you know, a good place to start in a little more realistic drawing of a lion. So this is a nice, fleshed out, finessed sketch. Okay? So just relax, enjoy yourself, have fun. I know you can totally do this. I look forward to seeing everybody's drawings. All right, and then we will see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.